Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have a absolutely just mind-blowing experience to share with you. Before we jump into it, a couple quick links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click that like button. It takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click the bell icon. And folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things, they really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and they are appreciated. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump into today's upload, shall we? All right, so today's experience is from a subscriber, and I got a call yesterday. I didn't recognize the number, so I didn't answer it. Shortly thereafter, I get a text, and I immediately, the second I see this person's name, I'm like, no kidding. I've not talked to this guy in a couple years. He's on the show a couple different times, a couple different experiences in the same location. I'd actually shared the guy's experience. I narrated his experience first. And then between that time and him and I talking again, he had gone on a different channel, shared his experience. They didn't mesh well, him and the other person, for some reason. But that's neither here nor there. You know, he came back. He actually apologized. And I'm like, why are you apologizing? You know, it's your experience. Share it with as many people as you can. Get it out there, you know. If it's beneficial to help you, get it out. He's like, all right, you know, I just felt bad, this and that. I sent it to you, and then I went to this other channel. I'm like, dude, you know, that's neither here nor there. I don't care. It's your experience. And really nice guy, just family guy, really cool. So he's like, I'm getting in contact with you because it's not my experience. And I have to make sure, for my own peace of mind, before I put you in touch with this person, that anonymity, that's the biggest thing. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, you've been a subscriber for a long period of time. You know how I feel about anonymity. And I value anonymity on this channel. I think it's key, important, you know, because I think a lot of it comes from me being in recovery. I'll be sober for 9 years on April 24th. I was addicted to opiates and heroin for almost 17 years of my life, you know. I was a fucking junkie. So anonymity is just... Without that in my eyes, I in trust, I don't think you can have any kind of relationship, and people can't trust you, you know. So I'm like, you know how I feel about it. It's therapeutic for someone to share their experience, and I would never want to jeopardize someone and either their freedom or being ridiculed by family members, friends, whatnot. And he's like, awesome. He goes, my buddy has had two experiences, one in 2015, one in 2018. His last experience cost him a chunk of money and a little less than a year and a half of his freedom. And I'm like, holy shit. All right. Okay. So I'm like, well, give him my number. We'll figure it out. And he said, all right, great. He goes, I'm going to text him, let him know. I'll give him your number and we'll figure it out from there. 10 minutes go by and I get another text from him and he says, hey, are you going to be free in an hour? He goes, he wants to talk to you. Look for this number if you're going to be free in an hour. I said, I'm free right now and most of the day. So whenever. An hour on the dot, this guy calls me. And I answer the phone. Hello, this is Jeff Nadolny. How are you? I've been expecting your call. He's like, awesome. I'm doing great. I'm sure our mutual friend has shared a little bit about me. And I'm like, no, actually he's not. He shared about the anonymity. And, I'm going to tell you right now, first and foremost, you don't have to worry. I'll only share what you want me to share. So you don't want locations. You don't want anything that could lead back to you. I won't share. And that's why I'm not sharing that first subscriber's name, because it may lead back to him. So he said, awesome. I do appreciate that. I got to tell you my two experiences. He goes, but I want to let you know that I like your channel a lot. I like listening to the experiences. He goes, but I like the research part of it where you look at these crazy kind of people getting mauled and government cover-up, media cover-up. Amber Miller, Tony Ahrens, Brenda Hamilton. He goes, I love that kind of research where you look at the news articles and pick them apart for the beneficial reason of figuring out that there is a government cover-up. He said, my experiences both happened in Tennessee. My first one was 2015. He said that one experience will interest you quite a bit. He said, actually, both will, but the first one. And I'm like, okay, well, why? What do you mean? Because it happened in upstate New York, but no, it happened in Tennessee, obviously. So he said, my first experience happened in an area called Mullins Island in Cott County, Tennessee. The second he said Cott County, Tennessee, I'm like, Bert, what? Tony Ahrens, Amber Miller. And so we both talked about the area a little bit, what I knew of the area, and obviously him growing up in Tennessee, he's sharing some more information about that area. So instantly, we kind of, there's a connection, and he's like, well, let me share my first experience with you. And I'm like, awesome. I cannot wait to hear it. He's like, I was hunting with my little brother. He said we were hunting for turkey. And this was my little brother's first hunt. He was 15 years old. He started late, he says to me, and I'm like, well, at least he's out in the woods. He said, not anymore. All right, so there are a couple of connections to his experiences and things that I have discussed on this channel. The first one being Cott County, Tennessee. He had his first experience in Cott County, Tennessee, and he was with his little brother. Cott County, Tennessee, for me, is the Tony Ahrens Amber Miller case, where there is two tragic attacks. Both lost their lives in a location called Jimtown Road in Cott County, Tennessee. Media government cover-up. And I've talked about it many times. I stirred the hornet's nest with it. Actually, I received emails saying, stop talking about this. So They are hunting. It is an overcast day. And he realizes that there is no other noises other than he and his brother walking. It's been out about 45 minutes. So they are in this location, and he hears what he knows as something quadruped. He's older than his brother. This is his little brother's first hunting trip. So he uses this as a teaching guide, kind of like, all right, the woods are silent means predator. Can you hear how this thing is walking? It doesn't sound bipedal like we do. It sounds quadruped, meaning 4 legs. This is what he's telling his brother. I'm not telling you guys this. Obviously, you know this. It sounds too heavy to be a deer. They hunker down and they wait for whatever to come out of the clearing. What comes out of the clearing is a large, husky-like creature. The very big difference is size. This thing's head is 3 times the size of a husky's, maybe even larger. Its body is just massive. He instantly is thinking, this is bigger than a bear. This thing is huge. It has not made eye contact, and he believes to this day that it did not know. It knew they were there in the vicinity. It knew someone or something was in that vicinity, but he is convinced that it did not know where they were at that period in time. It stands up in front of them. They are a good distance away, but they can see it. So it stands up, and it just kind of arches its back and howls, drops down back to quadruped, and runs into the woods. He is shocked at what they just saw. His little brother is in absolute terror. He's just losing his shit. They leave immediately. He says, we gotta go. We gotta go. Let's go. Be very quiet. And just pretty much, you know the way we came, you lead the way, I'll be behind you. I'll be right behind you. Do not say a word. Let's just get out of here. They eventually get back to their truck, or his truck. He's talking to him, and his little brother at that point says, I'm never going into the woods. I will never go hunting again. I'm done with the woods. And he has been since 2015. The next experience this guy has is in 2018. He is in the L.B.L. It's the end of November, early December. He paid his hunting license fee to hunt in the L.B.L. He is in and around Stewart County, Tennessee. And he's walking through this just very dense woods. I believe it's the lower part of the L.B.L, if I'm not mistaken. So he's by himself. It is sunny, but it's, end of November, early December, so it's a little chilly. But the sun does cut the chill. He sits down for a moment to kind of warm up, recoup, and as he's doing this, after having the experience in Cott County, Tennessee, he vowed that if he ever saw another Dogman or another one of those creatures, that he was going to shoot it. He was going to shoot it and prove to his little brother that the woods were safe. He would be safe. And that way he really felt like absolute crap that he brought his little brother to this location, and now he never wants to go into the woods again. So he has made it his, he's not going hunting for them, but if he is hunting and he sees another one, he will shoot it. That's he made his vow he made to himself. So he's in this area of Stewart County, Tennessee, hunting through the woods, just walking. He finds this very old cemetery. He said the oldest gravestone that he saw was somewhere at like 1836. It's a sunny day, little chilly, yada yada. Cuts through this area of the cemetery and gets settled up into a pretty much prime location where he could see these couple of these game trails. Sits down, is waiting for a deer to come through. Some time period goes by, and he hears walking. He hears a quadruped walk. He doesn't put two and two together yet that it is too heavy to be, a deer. Maybe it's another one of those creatures. Maybe it's another werewolf-like creature. At that point in time, he didn't know what Dogman was. At 2018, he does know what Dogman is. He's not met the subscriber that called me yesterday to tell me all of this yet either. But he has that vow. He sees this very large black canine that is very long, very girthy, just fucking huge. And he levels his rifle up. He's got a .308 Win Mag. And he spots the perfect shot. He's got the perfect shot. He sees its eye. He goes all the way to its shoulder. He's got a perfect neck shot. Bow, takes it. He watches the shot. He watches the spray come out from the other side, and he watches it just drop. Boom, done. He stands there for a couple of minutes. One, to wait and see if it's getting back up, because he doesn't want to be on top of this thing when it, looking at it, get back up and kill him. Two, he is kind of in shock. He's like, well, holy shit, I did shoot one. I can take a picture of it. Maybe I can drag it back to my truck. What am I going to do with this thing? I'm taking a couple pictures and I'm going to send them to my brother and be like, listen, I just killed one. The woods are safe. They die. He does. A couple minutes go by. He runs over. He's looking at it. He's bent down looking at it. He looks at his shot. He's like, yeah, he's impressed with his own shot, which the way he described it, I think anybody would. He puts his hand on its side and gives it a pet. And he said that out of all of the soaps by Dr. Squatch, this is funny how he said it. He goes, out of all of the soaps, Dr. Squatch, he said, it makes your skin soft. He said, I put my hand on this thing's fur. He said, I thought it'd be coarse. He goes, but it was so soft. He said it was like the softest Dr. Squatch soap on my arm. This thing felt like. He said it. And I was like, he brought up Dr. Squatch. I laughed my ass off when I had to stop. I'm like, dude, I am not laughing at you. I'm like, but it's just funny that you brought up Dr. Squatch and a Dogman experience. And he's like, I love Dr. Squatch. He's just a really cool guy too. But so he says, you know, like I put my hand on its side and I pet it, and it's so soft. He goes, I felt bad. He goes, I did feel bad. He goes, but you know, I killed it. He says, oh, I take a couple pictures and I realize that this thing's huge. I can't get it back to my vehicle. Am I going to get in trouble? He drags it. He makes the conscious decision to drag it to like a isolated part by the cemetery. And what he's going to do is he's going to cover it up. He's going to take his pictures. Now, as he's taking the pictures, he hits send to his brother, right? Puts his phone in his pocket and he starts dragging this huge creature, covering it with debris and, you know, sticks, leaves, any kind of debris he can find, natural debris, to hide it so it can decompose and just, you know, he can forget about it. Well, for some reason, as he's burying it, he's looking at the entrance shot. And he notices something kind of off about that hole in this thing's neck. He sees blood, obviously, and fur, but he sees something that, as he shot it, something wedged out of this hole. And he said, what I saw was something a little smaller than a SD card. You know, the bigger SD cards, but not the little tiny ones that go in cell phones, but the bigger of them. He said, I had no idea what this thing is, you know. I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the hole that I, you know, shot, and I noticed this kind of strange alien-like chip. And he goes down and he takes it and he wipes the blood off of it and he's looking at it, and there's a couple of different numbers and a couple of different letters, and he puts it in his pocket, not thinking, not, you know, like gets it covered up, and he starts walking. As he's walking out of these woods, because now he's like, I'm just gonna go back home. He's walking and he hears kind of a shuffling on the right and left of him. Not on the ground though, in the trees. And he hears shuffling right above him. Like right above him. Not behind him, not, you know, just straight up above him. And he stops and he's listening to this noise. He's listening to movement. And he looks up. Well, he did look right, left, but he doesn't see anything, and he looks straight up. And what he sees is staring down at him, another one of these dogmen, just staring down at him. Its teeth are bared, and it's glaring at him. Its eyes are this like kind of like glowing gold color. His rifle's on his shoulder, you know. He's got his 45 ACP on his hip though. And he's staring at this thing, and the thing's staring down at him. They are both aware of each other. It is vocalizing its anger through this growl that he knows full-heartedly that he just shot one, and this thing is pissed that he did. There's no way in his head that he can take his rifle off and shoot it, because he's obviously aware that this thing may just jump down and kill me. He takes his .45 off his hip and just shoots. He said it was one of the dumbest things I could have done. There's two dumb things that I've done in my life at that point in time. One is shoot the Dogman that I just did. Two is shoot up into the air. He said, and I wish, obviously he goes, I didn't get hit. He goes, but what if someone else did? Just bad thinking on his end, he says. He said, so I just do. And I start running. He said, I did not mag dump on it. He goes, but I shot maybe 4 times at this thing. He goes, I don't even know if I hit it. He goes, and I'm running. He goes, and I get to, there's a stream that is in front of me now. He goes, and I can hear movement on the sides of me. He said, I hear, these other two. He said, so I turn and look up, and he goes, I have my pistol pointed at it. He goes, and there's one behind me. And he's like, he goes, if I shoot this one, what if this one jumps on me? He goes, I am screwed, Jeff. He goes, there are 3, and they've boxed me in. He goes, there's one behind me and both on the side and a freaking stream in front of me, which is going to slow me down. He makes probably the smartest decision that he could make. He said, I don't know how I thought of this. He said, but when I turned, he said, I turned and put my back to the stream. He said, and I had my pistol out. He said, I shot 1, 2, 3. He said, I did it in a quick kind of circular movement. And then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 9 rounds at all 3 of these. He said, I know one of those rounds hit each of its mark. He said, because when the last shot I did hit the one that was above me, he said they all kind of made this just groan of like pain. He said, so I know I hit them. He said, they didn't fall out of the trees. They were still ready to go. He said, I'm standing there. He goes, and there had been at least 30 minutes had passed from the time I started running to now. He said, I got that chip thing in my pocket. He said, and, I'm stuck. I'm screwed. He said, I didn't hear anything behind me. He said, my back's to the stream. He said, I did my shots and turned, bop, 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 bop. He said, my back's to the stream. He said, and I hear this report, just this crack behind me. He said, I could feel the report. He said, it just echoed. He said, I felt it. He said, it was so loud and so powerful. He said, and I'm standing here staring at these 3, and I hear that crack, and the one in front of me now that was above me drops out of the tree. He said, I turn around. He said, I have my pistol still in my hand. He said, and I turn around, and he said, there's 2 guys that are standing there. Both have rifles. He said, they are in what looked like kind of khaki green cargo pants, boots, and jacket, same color as their pants. They were straight up what I believe to be government agent hunters. He said the guy that had the rifle pointed, that one that took the shot, because the other guy that's with him, he's got that shot, but the other guy now has his rifle trained on me because I've got my pistol out, because I just turned because I heard that rapport. So I've got my pistol pointed at them. He said the other guy that didn't take the shot has his rifle pointed dead at me. He goes, I got a fucking green dot on my chest, Jeff. A green dot. Second connection. Green dot. Victor sent people to Luke's house in Taylor, Mississippi. Luke calls me one night saying, Jeff, there's guys in my backyard with green dot lasers taking out dogmen from the den that is in my backyard. I think it was an hour before this that Luke pled with me to contact Victor, that he needed help. X amount of time goes by, not a lot, and Victor had sent people there. He said, so I look down and I see this green dot. He said, I just dropped my gun and put my hands up. The one guy that had his gun pointed at me, he said he was about 6 foot, maybe 6'1". He was a pretty big guy. He was maybe 250, 260, very muscular guy. Younger, probably my age, he says, which would put him at his, mid-20s. He said, but the guy you could tell that was in charge, maybe 50, maybe 60, beard, gray hair. And he says to me, get over here, in a real thick southern drawl. Third connection. When this guy heard Victor reshare the Florida hunt, he said, that's the same voice in 2018 that I heard that day on your channel. Third connection, Victor. I don't know if it was Victor. I'd like to think it was, but I don't know. I mean, it was 2018, which Victor reached out to me at 2019. And he had talked about different experiences in L.B.L. He said, my gun's on the ground. The guy says, pick your gun up, put it in your holster. They both have their rifles trained on something. The younger guy's got his rifle trained on me, green dot. The old guy has got his rifle trained on the one that's closest to me to jump down. My back is to, the other one. I make the third decision that I regret is I say to the guy, I just shot one over there. I buried it under some leaves, some rocks, and some sticks. And I found this in its neck. And the old guy crosses the stream and rips it out of his hand, puts it in his pocket, and says, you're coming with us. He's loaded into a black suburban-like SUV. He's brought to the nearest sheriff station. He is questioned, not by any sheriff, and not even read his rights, but questioned by this older gentleman with a southern drawl for a good long period of time. Once he can write out all of what happened, he is then said, "You have a lot to explain, bud. One, you have government property or had government property in your neck, and two, you destroyed government property. That's some prison time." The young guy sits down, doesn't say a word to him. The old guy leaves the office. When he comes back, he has a sheriff's deputy with him, placing him under arrest for poaching. He went to prison for 16 and a half months, not jail, but prison, for a crime he did not commit. What they did somehow was stack multiple charges of poaching, because supposedly they went to his house, found deer antlers, found this, found that, which was not at his house because he, one, never poached, two, he wasn't like, a trophy hunter. They found a spotlight, which didn't belong to him, and a couple of other things. So when he goes and stands in front of this judge, now you've got deputies that have given the DA a bunch of evidence. He believes that one of those two guys had spoken to the DA, and because he had killed that one Dogman and took this government property out of its neck and had it in his pocket, that it was either the two guys that planted the shit in his house or the deputies. I said to him, I don't know if that was Victor. I said, tell me a little more about what he looked like. Victor was not a small guy. I'm 6 foot, I weigh 185. Victor had 2 inches on me in height and had me by another 90 pounds. His arms, Victor's arms, for being an older guy, were still fucking big. Like, he wasn't Hulk Hogan big, but he was a big dude. A big dude. The way he described him doesn't sound like Victor, but does. There's a couple things that kind of... He gets sentenced. He has to pay a fine of $11,750. And he was supposed to do something like 22 months. But he ended up doing 16 and a half. So 5.5 of those months got dropped, probably for good behavior or whatnot. Just want to make sure I didn't bounce around too much on you. So after he got out of prison, once again, he did sit in jail for a couple days, but he was in prison. When he got out of prison, he ended up meeting the gentleman that reached out to me, probably a couple months go by. That's when he notices tracks on the stream that they're fishing at on the bank in the mud, which did not look like human footprints, large human footprints, meaning Bigfoot. But instead, these prints were maybe 11 to 13 inches in length, but they were narrow, and there was a what appeared to be a heel, kind of claw coming off the heel, and three claw marks in the front of it. So very three-toed, 13-inch prints. That's when they discussed his experience. The subscriber that I had, had on a couple of different times, told him his experiences, shared my channel with him, shared a couple other channels with him. And that's when he decided, it's time I share. But one of the questions he asked me was, do you think this was that guy Victor? And if it was, am I going to get in trouble for sharing this with you? And I had to tell him, Victor's passed for quite a long time now. I wouldn't know. I wish I could ask Victor, hey, do you remember this? And what if it was him? But there were times that I do recall him, there was one phone call that I talked to him about, and he was leaving the L.B.L. with one of the hunters he was training. I believe the same agent / hunter that lost his life in San Bernardino. So I honestly wish Victor was still here. I do have a picture of Victor, but I can't send it to this guy to verify, because that would break a promise that I made to Victor, never to share any of the pictures he has ever shared with me. Talk about them, but do not share them. I don't know. To me, there are too many coincidences in this for it not to be Victor. But how crazy is it? And I said, don't take this the wrong way. But as of, right now, do you wish you could turn all of this around? Never have done that. Never have, even though your brother is scarred and afraid of the woods, do you wish that you hadn't shot that one? Do you wish you hadn't put that in your pocket? The pictures. This is the craziest part. During his incarceration, he forgets about the pictures, because obviously you're going to forget about some shit. You're going through hell right now, legally. He asks his brother, did you get those pictures that I sent you of that Dogman that I shot? And his brother, I don't know what you're talking about. What pictures? What pictures? When did they get erased? Why did they get erased? I don't know. I really think this is Victor. I really do think it was Victor. But too many coincidences. Just first experience in Cott County, Tennessee. Then L.B.L. Shooting a Dogman, finding a freaking microchip in its neck. But it was crazy because Victor always said that they were in the back of its neck. So when he shot it, it must have caused it to follow the round and go out. I don't even know. It's fucking crazy. It's so crazy. I wish Victor was still alive so I could verify this, man, with him. Not verify it because I believe this guy, but verify if this was Victor or not. Because if it was, I would almost do a second book and include this in one of his experiences. Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel. It is your support that helps this channel to continue to grow and go, and honestly what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and our friends. These creatures are real. They are out there and dangerous. Share this information with those you love and care about. It may just help save their lives someday. And until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.